All righty. Grand Rising, everyone. This is Ron, Saturday, July 11th, 2026, 10:05 a.m. We'll get started and see if we have some questions about last week. On last week, we talked about several things, and one of them being video that Pastor had sent about the damming up of the rivers. And we looked at that from a practical perspective as well as a spiritual perspective. I won't go a lot into that because we see if we have any questions, and then we can do so if we have a lot of questions about that. Uh, I thought Don asked an interesting question when he talked about the dust of the ground, and Pastor spoke about that and said that it was dust because it was temporal. I had never thought about that, and I thought that was interesting. It was temporary. It was not supposed to be a lasting thing, and he went into that, and it made me look up temporal, and temporal talks about something that's done in time and something that goes through a sequence of events. So at some point, maybe we'll look at that one more time. I'm sure we will. And then we spent most of the time talking about water. We talked about the Cabelonian being a citizen of every land in the earth, being the first to be in every piece of land in the earth, and what that meant spiritually. And there's we talked about it is time. Pastor said something. He said it is time for the Holy Land to express itself. And I think that kind of will be opened up a little bit more today. Really, I think that kind of feeds into what he wants to talk about today. So it is time for the whole land to express itself, a time for the holy consciousness, the consciousness that has been set aside for redemption of the human. And so we'll get into that, I think, a little bit more today, okay? But any questions before I give it to Pastor and Sheldon? Okay,
I have
gentlemen.
one question, Ryan.
Yes,
Ryan,
sir. Yes,
Ryan.
sir. Yes, sir. I hear you.
The question I'm thinking of, it goes back into creation and when the three rivers and stuff split it up, and they all different had names.
Hmm.
Okay, what is that right there representing to the
Charles,
waters we're talking about now?
that is an excellent question. Can I do this though? Uh, there was a video we want to look at today. Can I write down your question and start there tomorrow morning?
Yes,
Would that be
yes,
okay with you?
sir. Yes, sir.
Is that okay with you, Pastor?
Yeah, Ron. Because tomorrow I would like to do a Q&A. Just
Uh-huh.
so if anyone has any questions or they may want to jot them down today, and we do a Q&A tomorrow. Okay. So yeah, that would be great.
I wrote it down, Charles, and if I forget, please remind me. But we'll start with that tomorrow. That's a good question since we've been talking about water. Thank you. So, uh, as please note is what Pastor said. Tomorrow we'll look at a Q&A, and I think that'll be awesome. Can't wait to see that either. But I like to give it to Pastor and Sheldon today, and let's see where we go from here. Thank you.
Hello, Pastor. You wanted to say anything first, or you just wanted me to start it?
Yes. I want. I tell you what, Sheldon. Let's go ahead and start, and then we go from there.
Miss Vermeil request has been sent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Physics just proved something that should make you question your entire life, and nobody is talking about it the way they should. Quantum physics just proved something that should make you question your entire life, and nobody is talking about it the way they should. Scientists at CERN have confirmed that particles can exist in multiple states at the same time. It's called superposition, which means at the smallest level of reality, things don't have one fixed state. They exist as probabilities. And here's the wild part. A particle doesn't choose a single measurable state until it's observed, until it's measured, until something interacts with it. So let me ask you something. If reality at its core behaves like a field of possibilities, and it collapses into one experience when observed, what do you think you're doing with your own life every single day? Because you are constantly observing yourself. You're constantly deciding, I'm this kind of person. I'm bad at money. I always struggle. Things never work out for me. And if the smallest building blocks of reality respond to observation, why would you assume your identity doesn't? Maybe your life isn't fixed. Maybe it's probability. And maybe the version of you that you keep observing is the one that keeps solidifying. So be careful what you repeatedly identify with. Physics might be listening. Comment timeline if you want a part 2. Quantum physics just
Thank you, Sheldon. Some of you probably already know the reason that I wanted to start with this. We have been talking about how we determine our future. We have been talking about how we determine the world that we live in. And when I saw that particular video, what hit me immediately is that if you are one of those people who I'm not going to get this job, or I know that something bad is about to happen, things are going too well, and when you focus on something bad is about to happen, that becomes the reality for you. The possibility of everything is going to continue to go well was also a possibility. So you chose the probability that was negative, and you chose the probability that was going to keep you struggling. So when we look at that at the quantum level, as she explained, what we see being scientifically proven is that we do have the wherewithal, we have the power, we have the what the authority to determine our circumstances, be they positive or otherwise, simply by observation. And when she said that you're observing yourself daily, what she's talking about is all the probabilities or possibilities that is before us every single day. We choose from a group of them. And when we choose from a group of those possibilities, what we do is determine how our life is going to move from that point forward. Are there any questions about that, or are you able to see what's being said here, or comments?
Yes, I see what you're saying.
Thank you.
Yes, I see it. And what it makes me think about too is scientists are just coming around to the idea that consciousness existed before anything else.
Yes.
So yeah, your consciousness is basically what it's talking about, isn't it? What you tune into,
yeah,
what you believe about yourself, all of that.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And in
So,
addition,
Pat,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I didn't know you were going to comment. I apologize. I'm not sorry. I apologize. So, based on what Audrey is saying, these particles that she is referencing, are these like sparks of consciousness that we give energy to? It's like a plethora of sparks, of particles, as she called them. And like if I say I can't win for always losing, or nothing ever goes my way, I ignite and give energy and life to that particle, and that's what begins to manifest in my life. Is that what she's saying?
Yes, that's exactly what she's saying.
I also kind of liken it if you think about someone who's a painter and you have all these different colors of paint, but then also you can mix the paints, of course, together to make new colors. You have basically a few like base colors. If you want to think about the particles is all of physical reality and what actually takes place and is there just like clay to be formed into a reality or in something. But the possibility in terms of what it can be is darn near anything. You're essentially actually all of us, or the artist of our own life.
Yes.
Thank you, Sheldon. I like that. I can see that too. Thank you.
Now go create a masterpiece.
I plan to. Thank you.
So
Grand Ri-
everything,
Grand- I'm sorry, I yield. Go ahead, Barbara.
Grand Rising, thank you. So if everything is energy before it even becomes particle, it's this wave of energy or light, and that's what it is in its inception. We've chosen all this time to believe the baggage that we've been fed, that we've read, that we've fed off of. I wonder what it would take for us to, and we know that we've ingested all the negativity. If everything comes into being based on us, that's what that video was about. That audio was about. We choose by what we pay attention to. We've always said that. Energy flows where our attention goes. Energy to energy. So if that's what happens, I wonder if at some point during this, I guess this lesson, at some point in time, we make a decision to focus on something that has been negative and change it to a positive. Why don't we do a test and see if it will work? I mean, it was so easy to just accept what other people have been saying. This is one way that we can move based on the divine that we are, and put it and manifest what we want to manifest. Choose it and manifest it. Focus on the positive, regardless of what the negative says. Don't worry about that. 24 hours, 48 hours. Just think that positive.
And Barbara,
I don't know.
that's where
I don't know if you feel what I'm saying.
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. That's where I was headed in opening this up some more. So we are indeed on the same page. George?
Yeah, again, Grand Rising, everyone. Pastor, we had talked about this a little bit in the past when you talked about the law of attraction in terms of, again, what you speak and what you do. But it is written that thought in the universal's mind created desire in the heart. And heart, that desire spoke word, and the word made flesh. So in terms of our consciousness, again, what we speak and what we do, is aligned to as so above, so below. So again, it's just again the law of attraction. You know, what are we attracting to, and staying in that mindset. But I just wanted to, you know, I guess ask, is that law of attraction something that we can compare to what you're saying, you know, as far as consciousness,
Okay. Yes, sir.
if that resonates?
It does indeed. The creator, the source, the supreme being, however you want to reference um, the feminine energy that created everything that is. The creator sits. The creator cannot see itself, and it desires to see itself. It desires to have experiences, but it can't because it is spirit and it is all consuming. So it decides that it's going to bring into being a material world, an observable world, so that it can have the experiences of the thoughts, of the principles, of the consciousness that it is. And from the womb of consciousness, what is brought into being? A physical world inhabited by the source or portions of the source, aspects of the source embodied in this physical form, and in the midst of this embodiment, the Creator permits a huge portion of its consciousness to be made available, and the decisions that we make attract to us the the possibilities that are available in those areas that we are searching. If we're searching in an area of finance or area of friendship, whatever, we have possibilities that are presented to us, and because of our conditioning, we have been conditioned to choose the negative as opposed to the positive. In that, what we say things like, "Well, it's not going to work out for me. I know it's not, and it doesn't. I told you so." That kind of a thing. Um, we have this Vincent Norman Peale attitude, positive thinking. This is not positive thinking. This is action, be it positive or negative. It's positive or negative action as opposed to simply thinking something, because it requires focus. So when we have a thought, then before us are all of the light or these particles of light that brings to us these different possibilities. And the ones that we focus on, not just think about, but focus on, the one that we give our energy towards is the one that becomes our reality. That's the reason when we saw, "I will bring them back to me," speaking of Cush, says the scriptures, even if I have to bring them across the great sea in chains. Now it's not there. Why is it not there? Because our thoughts or our focus shifted, and our focus shifted from being enslaved to being God's, or to being free, to being outside of the parameters of slavery. So I'm saying, in essence, George, that yes, the invitations are there. The invitation, I'm sorry, the particles are there, and we attract them to us because we are indeed a magnet, a type of magnet for light itself. we draw it to us. Does that, I mean, can you see what I'm saying, George?
Yes, that definitely resonates. And again, and that's, where, we appreciate the journey that we're on because, again, it's all from the cosmic mother.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Sheldon?
Yes, I actually had a small another clip that actually talks just about that with the heart and mind connection. And I wanted to play it right quick. And it goes right along when we talk about basically manifesting.
Okay, go ahead. Why you look, okay.
If you said, okay, I'm going to work with my body.
Could y'all actually hear that? Because I forgot to click on add sound. I'm gonna start over.
Okay.
All right.
I want to talk about the sun and ozone layer when he finishes.
If you said, okay, I'm going to work with my body, and I'm going to start breathing and I'm going to start feeling emotions that I do want to feel, the heart starts producing a very profound signal. It starts to produce an external magnetic field. It's measurable. So now you have a coherent brain, which means you can get very intentional, and you have a coherent heart, which means you can feel the emotions of your future before it happens. Somehow you have this broadcasting of this Wi-Fi signal, and the brain tends to be electrical in nature, so it sends out an electrical charge into the field. The heart is the magnetic charge. It's what draws things to us. You actually, by changing the way you think and the way you feel, you're changing the signal in the field. And if you're able to maintain that state for an extended period of time, I say something magical is going to happen in your life.
That's it in a nutshell. Thank you.
And the thing that I want to respond on there right quick, what he was actually talking about just now was bringing things in one's reality, creating reality of something that's actually desirable. And so that's why he talked about it actually from a positive standpoint. But in the exact way that he is talking about doing that intentionally for desired outcomes, a desired reality, a desired life, it already has been happening our entire lives as well. So basically, for example, if I am terrified of something actually happening, Pastor Richard mentioned earlier about that, me losing my job. And instead of me then throughout my body feeling very strongly, feeling the emotions of that and sitting in that, not doing it necessarily intentionally, but that is my life. That is where I live. Body filled with cortisol, just stressed out, tension, etc. Terrified of actually losing my job. In the same exact way that he just talked about having outcomes that one may want, that worry, that being terrified is then helping, not helping, but going on to create that reality that even started off in the first video. That is what I am actually doing. And whether we are aware of it or not, that's what all of us have been doing our entire lives. What we're talking about now is being much more intentional and understanding the power that we are, the creators that we are, in actually participating in doing that. But you're participating regardless. You've always been participating. We all been always been participating. I'm finished.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments about that?
Rep, I have a comment. I don't know if it's about that or not. So you're saying, and I'm speaking, or the more you gravitate to the negative things, we just the one been putting our own stumbling block in front of us.
Yes.
So that's what.
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly it. in relationship to that, there are a few things that I want to throw out there um, that I see in relationship to what we attract to ourselves. As I said, I want to talk about the sun and the ozone layer being damaged, and I want to talk about who we are and a couple of other things like the Islamizing of us and how we deal with that, and the sun and the moon in relationship to each other. The first thing is this. We understand that the ozone layer has been damaged for quite some time and the holes has gotten larger. And we are experiencing weather that is more dangerous than before. We see it that way anyway. And the sun is much, much stronger. And we are focused on how destructive those rays are to the earth, to us, to humanity. I was shown something at the top of the week in relationship to what our focus should be. And the ozone layer has a hole in it, yes. The ones who put the hole in it are the ones who are more susceptible to the ultraviolet rays that they cannot live with. And if we look at it from the perspective of divinity, what we actually begin to see is that the stronger the rays are, and the harder the sun is. I'm not saying we are supposed to be in the sun consistently or constantly. No. However, the more energy, the more melanin is available to us in the earth. And if we focus on the positivity, the benefits of the sun, having the rays of sun rather, that coming through that hole, our focus being that we are being infused with more and more melanin, and we are become more aware of the divinity that we are, or the divine ones that we are, and those who are the Haitians or the Africans, those who are in the diaspora who excuse me, who actually despise us, who looks like us, we become more aware or have the opportunity anyway of who they are. Because if you really think about what happens when we are in the sun, what happens when we are in the sun? Our bodies in the sun, our face, or about whatever's exposed to it, gets darker. And that they're getting darker, the skin getting darker, it means that there is an increase in melanin in our bodies. And that increase in melanin makes us more aware or have a deeper awareness of the consciousness that we are, as well as our divine nature. And having an awareness of our divine nature and a deeper understanding of consciousness, then we begin to see something else. We begin to see the reason that we are able to experience a greater depth of melanin and wisdom and understanding and awareness of being consciousness. That is also because of the sun and the moon. We talk about the sun giving light to the moon, and it does. However, the moon itself is dark, which is feminine, and the sun being masculine. So in actuality, the wisdom, the femininity of the moon being dark is simply wisdom that we don't understand. And the sun is not so much giving light to the moon as is extracting wisdom from the bosom of femininity and depositing it in us with by virtue of increasing the melanin in our awareness of what what our divine nature should look like and how we should respond to those around us who are not aware of our nature. An example of that is this: we talk about that as males, we talk about keeping our bloodline strong, and we don't realize that the male does not continue the bloodline. The bloodline is continued through mitochondrial DNA, which is the female is the one who carries the bloodline, and that is the reason when the Kemites wrote about it and the Bible was manipulated, or the writings of the sacred writings of Kemet were manipulated. That part was not taken out because they didn't understand it. When it talks about the birthright or the bloodline is through the female, it talks about that in scripture. That is the reality that has been proven, have been shown through science. Because they hadn't proven nothing to me or to you. We already knew, but that shows us that our wisdom and everything about us, that our consciousness comes from femininity. And also, the increase in the presence of the sun gives us the wisdom that allows us to increase our memory of who we are, who we were, and who we shall forever be. And increasing our memory, or bringing back our remembrance of our existence, that within itself opens up new avenues for us and gives us a divine focus. So when we understand who we are, or when we hear who we are, if we don't understand it, then our focus on desiring to understand it gives us the wisdom, the understanding that is necessary for us to function in a divine manner. So far, yeah, is that clear so far? Is it resonating?
Yes.
Yes, it resonates.
So understanding that, but then what we are actually doing, based on quantum physics and the divinity that we are aware of, what we're actually doing is restructuring a divine environment for the express purpose of bringing mankind to a place of balance. However, the struggle has not been simply with us. All the possibilities that are out there, when we talk about having been forced to accept Islam, Christianity, Judaism, etc., that means that we have been forced to focus on those different religious entities, and by our focusing on it, it became an intricate part of who we are. And now that we understand that the Islamizing of us by those who enslaved us was an effort to make us be submissive to them, and this whole aspect of Muhammad being the last prophet has no meaning to us, because we understand that prophecy simply is the infusion of understanding based upon the wisdom that is feminine. and we we bring into existence that understanding. The same thing with the Christianization that we have experienced, as well as the Judaizing of us. Think about us being Judaized. Think about this. How is it that you can be a Hebrew in the Old Testament and a Jew in the New Testament when there is no such entity as a Jew? So what happened is we are being forced to focus on Judaism without even knowing it. And the way we have been forced to focus on Judaism is focusing on Jesus being the Jew. And our subconsciousness has embraced this false narrative of Judaism and Jews themselves. And what do we hear in our people say in particular? Um, they've been fighting each other, meaning the Arabs and the Jews been fighting each other forever. And when in essence, the Arabs are not our friends at all. Neither are the Europeans who have who have invented this thing called Judaism and Christianity. So, when if we are to be who we are, then we must recover the lost memory of our spirituality, and the Son is what brings that back to us. So our focus is not on not. We cannot focus on what we are not. We must focus on who we are. If you say that I am not going to be like my daddy, or I don't want to be like whatever you don't want to be like, that's what you become, because that's what you're focused on, and your focus is a negative. So you focus on who you are and who you desire to be. When that is the focus, then the journey that you take is totally different when you focus on what you're not or who you don't want to be alike. So before I say the next thing, please, are there any questions or comments in regards to this?
Yes, sir, Pastor. Explain that about you don't want to be like your daddy, or you don't want to be like someone else.
Okay,
Explain that more.
wait in a second, okay? Nick.
Hey everyone, and actually it will relate to your that what you just asked to be explained, I think. But just a comment about what you focus on, you become. It's kind of like if you've ever heard the phrase like attracts like, and we were just talking about how the heart magnetizes and attracts things. And we're also speaking about how like if you sort of remain in a state of fear, then that fear interrupts your ability to create anything that you think is positive, but it will inform your ability to create in a negative direction, because that is where your focus is. So I just wanted to make that comment. Like attracts like, in that you must become like the thing that you wish to create. So you say you want something, or we say we want something, but I was just reading something that a man named Billy Carson put on Twitter, and he's a black sort of metaphysical researcher who's, I think, is pretty good, but it was related to this, and he posted it very recently. When you want something, that is a somewhat of a misnomer, because want comes from an internal understanding of lack, an internal understanding of I do not have. When the real shift in consciousness is one towards I have, it's shift your thinking from I do not have, I want, to I desire, therefore I create. And I think there's more to it than that, but that's my best way of explaining it in the moment. It's like you learn to vibrate or think and shift your thinking in a different way. Because as we've been speaking about, our environment, our experience is an extension of us. So if we want, quote unquote, we say we want to change it, the thing you start with is changing yourself. And you learn to become like that which you wish to create. Because if you, a creator, choose to create something, it is created. It is just that we have to learn how to stop creating in the negative direction and create in the positive direction. Thank you.
Thank you.
To go further
Yes,
on
Nick,
what
That was good, Nick. Thank you.
I
to go
yield. Go ahead.
okay
Go
to
ahead,
go
Sean.
further on what Nick was just saying and talking about the question of becoming actually becoming that which you are determined not to become. Because it's so strong within, and I'm just going to, it's not the situation, but I'm gonna use myself and make up a hypothetical situation to try to illustrate the point. Okay. If I absolutely despise my father, and most of my thoughts on a every just normal throughout the day, throughout my life in general, is concentrated upon just how bad or horrible my father is and how much I do not want to be like him. I do not want to be him. What happens is within myself internally, I am at a place, or it's very, very real, that I'm constantly imagining that of all those quote unquote bad things that I think of my father. And so I'm bringing that into my life and I'm creating it internally. And so what happens is those things start taking place in my life because I've concentrated on them. And when it relates to the heart, I've felt very, very strong and emotionally about that particular thing. I did not just pass over it. The opposite of that in terms of creating something different would be to more so concentrate or live in the space or experience, try my best internally to experience that which is not like him and the things that I would actually desire, not just hoping for them. Because like Nick said, when you're deeply, deeply, deeply hoping for something, it's as if you are chasing something that you're also admitting that I cannot catch in its distance from me and is far away from me. But by being able to more so imagine and concentrate on the thing that you want, not that you don't want, but you want, and living in that space, that is more so akin to creating that positive outcome that one would actually wish for. But in terms of let's say if my father's very angry, let's say if he's very nasty, just not a person that a lot of people would be around, like a loop, I am concentrating on that and experiencing that internally while saying I definitely don't want to ever be like that in my life. I'm finished.
Thank you. George?
Can I make a comment?
Wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
Continue, John.
Yeah, yes. Pat, I just wanted to, mention in terms of knowing that we are the creators, we are Elohim, then is again what we speak. And there's saying that I say that I am the creator who create the thoughts that create the things. So what is it that we're creating? What is it that you desire to create? And knowing that, if we are in alignment with our ancestors and the creator, then we can manifest those desires. I'm done.
Thank you. Don?
Yeah, but kind of on the heels of what George was just saying, what I'm starting to see is that everything is about alignment and what you align with. And one thing I've learned and I've started to look at, and just from the things that I'm learning, is the things that you see in your life, they're like whatever you see, all comes down to alignment or the lack thereof, or what you have aligned with. Your thoughts, our thoughts create the reality that we live in, our speech, the things that we say, and all those things come back to your alignment. And so what I've learned to do and what I'm learning to do is not just watch what I say, but watch what I think, and to think about things because I feel like once you align with where you're supposed to be, and the whole goal is to connect, become one with who we were destined to be, and be that and to walk in it. And so everything else will be drawn to you. The more you align with who you're supposed to be, the more those things will be drawn to you. And so instead of me worrying about the things that I need, I focus more on that alignment because everything else will come. The more I focus on that alignment, everything else will line up. That's all.
Okay, let me speak to all of that, if I may. The whole concept of of want, as Nick said, subconscious says there is a lack. So we should change our want to desire, and that will have a tremendous effect on the environment that we create for ourselves. And what happened is that you are always aligned with something, whether you intend to or not, whether you know it or not. You are aligned with either negativity or positivity, and if you fluctuate between the two, then you end up getting nothing because you're sending mixed signals to the universe. Now, the whole thing about Charles's question that was raised is that when you decide what you don't want to be, what you begin to do when you focus on that is put yourself in rhythm with it. Your frequency joins that frequency. And when you put yourself in rhythm with it, when your frequency is consistently the same frequency of what you desire not to be, that's what makes you be it. Does that help, Charles, out of all the things that we talked about?
Yes, sir, it helped because, I mean, the more you fight against it, it's still there. The more you turn away from it, it's still there. And I figured out that you're going to have them traits, but what you going to do with it? And then you got to understand how to deal with it.
Yeah. And you also have to get to the place where you realize something. Regardless of what you have been subjected to growing up or during the course of your life, at some point in your life, you become responsible for it. You can't keep pointing back to your childhood. If you recognize that that's what happened in your childhood, then you should also recognize that there is something that can be done about it, and can't anyone do anything about it except you. No matter.
And letting go.
Go ahead, Barbara.
And letting go of those things, those negative things in the past that you've always focused on. Letting go of that reaffirms to you that you are the creator of your reality. And so by saying, I create my reality, it doesn't matter what happened back then. That's you taking responsibility as the creator of your own reality.
Yes.
And therein is a big difference. There's the maturity. There is that point where you just know that it doesn't happen, that of all the trauma I had in my life, yeah, it did something to me, but it doesn't have to continue to do anything to me. I create my own reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Audrey?
I think an important thing to recognize too is that the universe or your consciousness, it doesn't recognize you when you say, no, I don't want to be that. It doesn't recognize the no. It just recognizes the focus and the concentration. So even if you're saying, no, I don't want to be that, if you're focusing on that particular thing, that is what solidifies and manifests.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the universe does not understand the word no. It responds only to what you are.
That's it. In your desires. Whatever you're focused on.
And trust me, this realization is heartbreaking.
When you think about what you've
It
made,
really is.
I don't want to be.
Completely.
Yeah.
No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to save us. And that is harsher than I mean it to sound, but the principle behind that is the point of transition from spiritual childhood to spiritual adulthood.
That that's what 1 second run. That's what Dominate says. Nobody's coming to save you. You the dominator. You the creator. That's it.
Yes, sir.
Ron.
I didn't want to go ahead of Sheldon. I think Sheldon was next.
Well, I actually wanted to respond exactly what was just said, and it started off as well when Ms. Barbara mentioned responsibility. Though it can, on one hand, it can look like, oh, this is my responsibility. The beautiful part of that is we're in control, we're in power, so it means that we have a say so, and then we dictate what is. It's just a matter of us actually doing so. While it is responsibility, we have the gift and are empowered to change and decide what it is that we actually want.
Thank you, sir.
And Ron, if I could go after you too.
Okay. I'm looking at this and there is I'm going back to something Barb said earlier about putting something to the test, right? If there's this entity, this energy called Ron, and Ron has been struggling with the macro part of him, but the macro part of him is attached to people on this phone, and the macro part of him has a desire for some of the things that we have talked about. So are we saying that the macro does not happen if the micro is not lined up properly? So if I don't have things in control in my personal life universally, then that's going to be a struggle as well. Because I won't have that focus.
Ron, Shakita, let me respond to that, please.
Okay.
Yeah, when you talk about that, Ron, we talk about us as teachers, right?
Right.
And if one of us teaches something, we have no problem going anywhere in the world and teaching it without having to even research it because we are one, right?
Right.
So that is the unicity of who we are. Now, if one of us is having a struggle with that foundationally holding on to the reality that they are divine, it does not have a totally negative effect on the macro. Why? Because the idea of us being divine is aligned with the universe. And that one who is struggling with being divine does not have an adverse effect on that because that is not aligned with the universe. And if that had an adverse effect on it, then that adverse effect would also come from those who we are seeking to enlighten. That also would have an impact on it, a negative impact on it, if that one person is still struggling with it. Are you seeing what I'm saying?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so
I'm a bit lost, Sage.
okay, so let me use Ron.
Okay.
Yeah, there are 13 of us, and all 13 of us have said and understand that we are divine. And then all of a sudden, Ron goes home and he thinks about that, and why it did resonate when we were discussing it. Now he's struggling with it, and then he's vacillating between being divine and not being divine. So both of these thoughts have been put in the macro. So the macro, when you put something in the macro that is aligned with the universe, it takes precedence over everything else. Are you with me so far, Ramil?
Yes.
Now, let's take that to another take another step. That is no different than if Ron was not in this group with us. And Ron was one of the people who at church every Sunday. And Ron does not believe anything that we are teaching. Ron is trusting Jesus. If that would have if what I said before would have an adverse effect on what we as a team put in the macro, then that same thought would have an adverse effect, even if it was coming from someone who I described as Ron being in the church.
Okay.
Or you,
Okay. Yes.
therefore, the primary, the not primary, the universe aligns with what it has rhythm with, and it does have rhythm with the reality of us being divine. So it would not, what Ron says about not being divine has no effect on our putting that in the macro. Can you see that?
Yes. Let me see if I've got this right. It's what Nick said about the universe doesn't recognize no. What Nick and Audrey were saying about universe doesn't recognize no because it's not in alignment with the universe.
It recognizes who you are, what you say, what you focus on.
Okay. Understood. Thank you.
Now, the other part of that is this.
Mm.
The light that we are, cannot be usurped by anyone because we are aware of it now. And one of the reasons that we are beginning to see the chaos increase is because we have repurposed the energy, and those who were using it are floundering now. It is no different than a storm that and a post falls and the wire falls to the ground, and the energy is coming from that wire and is flopping around, flailing with no direction. That's what we are observing now when it comes to European leadership.
I can see that.
Can you see that?
Yes, that resonates. Yes.
Thank you, Ron.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I see what I guess mine is kind of the opposite. Uh, when we're on this phone, and even when we get off this phone and we study or we read or we send videos to each other, that's a different world than Tuesday morning and Wednesday. So I struggle with the part of me that's particularly me, but the part of me that's attached to this, I don't struggle with.
Okay.
And I wonder why they're such two different worlds. And as Nick said earlier, this is, and this is my word, not his. That can be pretty pathetic sometimes when you compare the two.
I would like to.
Can I? Oh, sorry. Well,
That until after Keita speaks, Ron.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll respond to that.
and the only reason I'm asking is because Ron, what I was going to say is geared a little bit along, as you explained it more. It's kind of along the lines of actually what you're talking about.
Okay.
Something that Nick said was kind of like a light bulb, really, because when you said desire, I desire, therefore I create, right? I was having a really hard time with wanting and knowing that's a lack mentality. And it's like you want, I want my situation to change. Things are going like this. I want something different. we talked about this, this is what was talked about on the class. I want something different. And so the simple thing of changing that want to desire, therefore I create, that really resonates and I think is a completely different framework, a different mindset. But Ron, and so Ron, what you're talking about, to me, I kind of liken what you're even saying a little bit to that, right? I am connected to the teachers. I'm connected to some really strong people who have a good handle on, on the spiritual things. That's still a want and a lack thought process, right? When I'm with them, I can do it. When I'm not with them, I can't do it, right? And so also what George said, I create the thought that creates the thing. So the two of those together, Ron, is what I think about with what you're talking about. It's you desire on Tuesday to have the same zest, I guess, for lack of a better word, the same zest, the same energy that you can have on Monday. And I also want to throw out that the same way you look at that is how I look at you, for example, as well. So even though you might be thinking sometimes, gosh, it's pathetic. I'm supposed to know this. I know it when I'm talking to James, whatever. I look at you the same way. So all of that to say, I think it kind of goes into want versus desire. And you looking at and even we are, nobody's coming to save us, we're responsible. That when I look at the things that I desire to change, it is disheartening to recognize that I created a whole lot of things I don't want, but it's also empowering because even though I might not want it, I made it. I made this. This is what I created, and I can, change, do some different things, and create a different thing. So that's what I would even say to you, Ron, when you're feeling like that and thinking about that, your thoughts create the thing. You create the thoughts that create the thing. So that's it.
Okay. Go ahead, Nick.
Just want to say thank you. Yes, absolutely. And Ron, in reference to your feeling, well, let me level set here. Don't think I don't, for example, go through things. I definitely do. And one of the biggest ones is fear. I've had, various levels of real anxiety my entire life, and I'm not entirely sure why it's been there, except the more I understand about myself, the more I understand why things the way that they are. But my point is that some of the most intense, profound, and transformative spiritual experiences that I've had are when I've been at the place where I felt the most amount of fear, etc., pressure, whatever, and then realized in that experience, in that moment, I could shift my attention away from it. But anyway, what I wanted to say was this, it's kind of like the difference between theory and practical, the practical exam. Our group, when we come together and speak, it's like we're reinforcing theory. When we go into life, we return to the practical exam. And in that sense, even this meeting on the weekends or whenever we come together to speak is a microcosm of the entire process of reincarnation. When we leave this body, we will go back to a place of relative rest and balance and learning and understanding. And then if we need to, we will come back to the practical exam and begin to deal with problems, because that is how we grow. So this little relationship we have with the rest of the world, quote unquote, versus what we do in these calls is exactly that same process. And we have to learn how to remember the true nature of self when we're in those situations that want to capture all of our attention and divert it in a negative way. When we deal with the regular frustrations and anxieties, etc., of life that we must deal with, because that is how we encounter situations that force us to grow, that force us to become conscious of our ability to shift our awareness and attention and focus in a particular direction. And it's just a matter of learning to calm down mentally, emotionally, etc., in whatever situation or experience, and remember the core and the true nature of self and the core nature of ourselves. And that we have the ability to move in a particular direction mentally and spiritually, regardless of wherever our environment is trying to force us. And it's difficult.
It is.
Um,
Thank you.
I have two responses to those, if I may. One is when we talk about want, it's usually connected to materialism. I want a better life, money. I want things to change in my life. Why? Because you have a desire to make somebody else be what you want them to be. All kinds of things go through our minds. So want does indeed look to the material world in most cases anyway. Let me put it that way. Desire, when we purposely shift from want to desire, since we have not been using the word desire or the energy of it, that gives us more intent. We are intentional when we use the word desire, because that is not something that we have used in relationship to the spaces where we put want. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. The other part is this. One of the struggles is because we lose focus.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you. I want to go through something for a moment, if I may. I'm going to use in Christian terms. Is God spirit? Yes. So when it's written, I say that you are the light of the world. That means that we are the enlightenment for the world. Are you able to see that? And I would prefer a response if I can get to each one of these questions I raised, okay? Are you able to see that?
Could you repeat that again, Sage? The
I say
second one?
the enlightenment of the world. That's what is written about something that Jesus said. I say that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Then it says, the scripture, the writing says that you're looking everywhere for the kingdom, but the kingdom of God is you.
Mhm. Mhm.
It is you, right?
Right.
So you are the enlightenment of the world. You are the kingdom of God. And then it is written, know ye not that your body, B-O-D-Y, your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, of the Holy Ghost. Is that not written?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
that means that your body is the temple of God. So you're the temple of the Creator, which means that you are the Creator. You are the kingdom of the Creator. You are the enlightenment of the Creator. So you are the Creator that's in this body. So what happens is we lose sight of these truths about who we are. We lose sight, if we ever had it, about being the enlightenment for the world, about being the kingdom of God, about being the temple of God, the temple of the Holy Ghost. We lose sight of that. If we focus on that, even when we are not on this call of the weekend meetings that we have, even if we are not here, we focus on that during the course of a week. This is not what we call those this is not an affirmation. This is a statement of truth. And when we make that statement of truth, then it becomes more and more real to us. And that also results in us being aligned with the universe. And when that happens, we begin to have less and less periods in our lives where we're struggling with what we have discussed during the course of our meetings. We have less and less periods of time when we struggle with believing who we are, and that is one of the main reasons I wanted to insert today the understanding of the influx and increase of melanin that we are receiving from the sun. So embracing what's happening in regards to the heat of the sun also increases not only our understanding of being divine, but it also increases the influx of wisdom that we receive. This morning, when I was standing there in the sun, and my desire was expressed, and my desire that was expressed to the ancestors was to get a better understanding of what it means to be divine. Give all of us the understanding of what it means to be divine. And I literally sought that from the ancestors. Give us a clearer understanding of what it means to be divine. That is the desire that I expressed this morning. And I did not express that desire flippantly. I expressed that desire because I strongly felt that it was necessary for me to become one with the ancestors in terms of their desires for us being our desire as well. Is that clear?
Crystal clear.
Yes.
It is clear. And the thing I was thinking about earlier also when you were talking about this is not positive thinking or whatever. And then when you say we are the light and we are the temple of the Holy Spirit, it has to do with a certain knowing, which is deeply internal. So if you don't have that certain knowing, then there's always doubt.
Can't get it done right.
Keita, can you mute?
Sorry.
But yeah, I was thinking earlier that all of this has to do with a certain knowing, even in terms of okay, I just lost my train of thought. But anyway, we have to have, and I don't want to say belief. I do want to say the word knowing. We have to have a certain knowing that we are the temple of the Holy Spirit, that we are indeed divine. And if we don't have that knowing in our consciousness, then there's always doubt, which kind of negates the whole thing.
So
anyway, I just wanted to point that out.
Could it be that part of what it is that part of the knowing is being? It is understanding, receiving, and being. And you do that with emotion. You do that with all your being. That's the difference between the affirmation and the being. if when I say things, I'm reminding myself of what I be, not something I say just to hear it in my ear, like okay, I want this to happen, but no, it's part of telling myself as the God that I am. This is me. This is who I am. I am part of something that's greater than I am, but I am also it, and it is I. So it's a being. It's a knowing and a being. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me. The idea that we're talking about, the concept rather, about is transformational as opposed to being positive thinking. It's transformational, and what brings about transformation when what happens is we talk to ourselves, and what I mean by that is this: when a thought goes through me, questioning or doubting who I am, then that is my brain. That is what's in my brain. That is what's in this carnal mind that's speaking to me. And it is incumbent upon me to transform my mind. And the way I transform my mind is by saying, no, I have no doubts that I am divine. I have no doubts about that whatsoever. So what am I doing? I'm training my mind to process just as I process the consciousness that I am. So my mind is becoming aligned with consciousness because I'm talking to myself. That's why you are able to talk yourself into things that's hard to get out of. So I cannot say what you do or should do in order for you to have this experience of being transformational. But I can only tell you how I approach it, and if you think well of it, then you embrace it. If not, find your way of talking to yourself and reminding yourself who you are, and that helps to strengthen you when we are not together. Yes, we are stronger together. There's no question about that. Yet, the energy that we put into the macro strengthens us during the course of our not being together because we are never separated spiritually. We have made that spiritual unicity real to us. Have we not? Is that clear? Can you see that, guys?
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
agree with that. I agree with that. Just I wanted to say, when I talk to myself too. It's if you've heard the term using affirmations. But the real point of that is not, what we've been talking about just now as positive thinking, quote unquote. It's a difference between the surface level sort of attempts to be positive, while at the same time underneath in the subconscious you still have all of this, conflicting negative stuff. No, the real purpose of all of that is to retrain or reprogram what is in your deep subconscious and your deep, truly held beliefs about yourself, etc. That is what we have to get to in order to shift our consciousness and actually transform ourselves, and then our environment follows suit. And one of the things that meditation is designed to help you with is to reach that deeper place within yourself, because that is where your true beliefs, your true awareness and perceptions, those things blocking your awareness and perception, are all held deeply in in what is generally subconscious to us in terms of our day-to-day experience. And it is by becoming more conscious what is in our subconscious, and then learning to change those deeply held beliefs, etc., that are present, that actually begins to affect our awareness and our ability to recognize our responsibility and ability to create what it is we desire to create, because desire comes up from within. Want is something that you see without, and you attempt to pull it toward you, when it works the other way around. It works from within and then is expressed without. Whereas the want is you see it without and you try to pull it within. And to change the nature of your subconscious, deeply held beliefs about yourself, about the world, whatever, is a difficult task, but that is the task of spiritual maturation. Thank you.
Thank
May
you.
I add something?
Sure.
As the ruler, if you will, or as the God of my kingdom, of God of me, God of my reality, the source of everything that I create. It's like a king. A king makes a declaration. A queen makes a declaration. It has nothing to do with I affirm that I'm. No. I declare that in my kingdom, this shall be. These are the laws. These are the principles. This is the way that my reality will unveil itself. That's part of what I see as what I do. It's a declaring. It's a declaration, not necessarily just a reminder, but a declaration to everything that is, to my reality of what I stand for as part of a greater consciousness, part of the source, a part of you all. That's my reality. Thanks.
Thank you.
Can I make a statement?
Yeah, let me say.
Okay, go ahead.
Because when I say this, we go probably in. Go ahead.
Okay. Like for the last couple of weeks, like just because I've been sending you and Ron, y'all probably tired of me sending y'all videos, but just the stuff that I've been looking at, and just looking at, like a lot of us, most of us have come out of a place of like religion, like moving away from that and what we've learned, and everything religion has taught us is to look outside of ourselves, and you're crying out to somebody way away, far away. It's somebody to blame far away, and the more of what we are learning now is more accountability. Accountability for the circumstances that we find ourselves in, accountability for the life that we presently experience at the moment, accountability for everything, accountability for your speech, accountability for your thoughts. And a friend of mine called me the day before yesterday, and he was asking me, he said, I was trying to meditate, and he said, man, I can't get past the noise. He was like, I can't get past the noise. He was like, how do you do it? I said, I'm gonna be honest with you. Some days I can't get past the noise either. I said, I don't want you to be thinking I'm just sitting around here and I'm floating in the room meditating, because it don't always be like that. Sometimes it's noisy. I'm in there, everything quiet, and it's noise. And I said, the thing that I have come to realize is sometimes that noise is trying to tell you something. And I told him, I said, the things that pop up in your mind, I said, not just ludicrous things where you thinking about what you should cook tonight and it pop up in your mind, but things feelings and emotions that you sometimes I feel like you might have suppressed. I said, when those things come up, I said, you ever ask why? I said, you ever deal with the why? Why they coming up at these particular times? I said, you ever ask the why? I said, deal with the why and see if they still keep coming up. And he was like, never thought about that. But at the same time, I'm like, sometimes the noise, and like when Pastor was talking about talking to yourself, a lot of times that I know from my own personal experience, I have talked myself into a lot of things, or talked myself out of a lot of things that I wanted, because my self-doubt and the things that I said, oh, that's not going to happen. Man, it's not going to work. I don't got anybody to help me, or I don't got anybody to do this, or people are not going to support this, or they're not going to do that. And I made that reality. And so I think that what we are seeing here is just accountability and seeing how powerful we are. Even when we don't think we are, we're still creating something.
Yes.
And so I think we should be more aware of what we're creating, and then at the same time realizing what the space that we're creating from. That's all.
Thank you. What I wanted to say is this. Thank you, Don. I do believe that an understanding of the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil, understanding it in relationship to who we are in these bodies, understanding it in relationship to mindsets. I do believe that will go a long way in helping us to hold on to the reality of who we are. However, my preference is to talk about that on tomorrow as opposed to going into it now. Because I do also know that as a result of putting forth what I've been shown in relationship to understanding this is going to bring about a lot of questions. So I would rather hold on to it until tomorrow and deal with it when we have all the time in the world to do it if we choose. Because we have been told we are going to do a Q&A tomorrow, and the Q&As go as long as they go. I'm done. Ron?
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Hope you write down questions for tomorrow.
Go out. Let me ask you this. What that kind of helpful or cleared up some things?
Kinda.
Okay.
See, as I said from the beginning, though, I bought into being Elohim. I bought that. I see that. I don't fully understand it,
Right.
and that's okay. But I can tell you there has not been one lesson that we have had, even the ones that I may have led, that I fully understand. But if they all resonate with me, if they resonate, I don't worry about understanding them. So the knowing, I think, is going to come because I do have a desire to be there, and to the knowing to me just speaks to a level of intimacy.
Gotcha.
And that is a becoming, and that takes time, and for each and every one of us is different. The part that I have trouble with is there was something that was said on the cross uh, that I struggle with. And that is when the man said, he saved others, why can't he save himself? I think I have answers for everybody but me. People call me, people ask me stuff all the time. It's me that I struggle with. And that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
But I kind of feel like I took this off to a different path, and I didn't mean to do that. Not totally like this. But anyway, thank you, and look forward to tomorrow.
And that path, thank you. But that pathway, Ron, was necessary because the questions would not have come from Keita and others if you had not done that. So it was necessary. I don't think we ever off base.
I don't think you're off base, Ron. I think your pathway was exactly what the video was talking about. Particles, you see, particles don't solidify until you observe them.
Yeah,
So it's the same kind of thing.
yeah, you're right. Thank you.
I agree. Thank you.
Okay, have a great day and look forward to tomorrow, everyone. Thank you. Okay.
All right. See ya.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care. Take care,
Bye.
family.
Bye.
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 Bye.